Welcome back to our little series thinking about how we connect our Christian faith and the work that we do. If you're still with us, well done for getting this far. I hope you're finding this material helpful. This seems to be a good point to just have a little recap, and we're also going to try and work out where we're going next. The first thing we've been saying is that by God's design, work is meant to be good. We've been looking a little at Genesis, and we've suggested 4 things that point to this being true. The first thing is that God himself works, and that he also experiences what we might call job satisfaction. The image we get from Genesis is of a master craftsman working skillfully with a great smile on his face. The second thing we learned was that God has arranged his creation in such a way that it requires human work in order for it to be completed and developed and for it to fulfill its potential. And that God calls all of us to use our particular gifts, our unique and particular gifts, to cooperate with him in his joyful work. And the third thing was that God loves and cares for and provides for the people in his world via the means of humans working together. That God loves his creation through the work that we do. And then last time we were highlighting the fact that God calls us to rest, both physically and spiritually, so that we can do our best work from a good place and a secure place rather than running on empty. Now, I think this all sounds brilliant, but we all know that somehow this is not often how life is. Work is meant to be good, but so often it's really, really hard. If we stayed in Genesis a little longer, we would discover that 2 things that God gave to mankind that had the greatest potential for joy and delight and fulfillment, relationships and work, now seem to have the potential for such heartache and pain. And it wasn't that God had moved or that God had changed. It was human rebellion that broke that intimacy with God. And this brought shame and blame and guilt and distance into relationships, both between humans and God and between humans and humans. And it also radically affected the work that we do. If we were to read Genesis chapter 3, verse 17 to 19, it wasn't the idea of work itself that God cursed. Work was always intended to be a good thing. It was the ground that God cursed. The formerly perfect garden that was there to be developed and cultivated and enjoyed now becomes a sort of enemy. It produces thorns and thistles. And the work that had previously been a delight was now defined by God as painful toil. Right at the start, I suggested a couple of resources that I'd found helpful in thinking about work. And I find it interesting that in both of them, they both summarize work being hard in similar ways. Tim Keller, in his book, Every Good Endeavor, suggests that work can be fruitless, pointless, and selfish. And then I really love this book by Tom Nelson. And he argues with a nice little bit of alliteration that work is hard because it's difficult. It brings disillusionment and distortion. I think when I look at those 2 summaries from these 2 authors, my own kind of summary would be that there are 2 things here that make work hard. The top 2 pairs reveal that we are often doing our work in an environment that is broken and hard and difficult, while the bottom pair, they show that on the other hand, we ourselves can be flawed in our approach to our work. So we've learned that work is good. We're also beginning to see that work can also be very hard. And the reason it's hard is because the environments we work in are broken and because we ourselves can often be part of the problem. Well, that's all we have time for in this video. But over the next couple of videos, we're going to have a think about those 2 areas, some of the things that make our places of work challenging and how we can address that. And then we'll move on to think about the ways that we ourselves can distort our work and what we might be able to do to improve that. So thanks for watching this video, and I hope you'll be able to join us as we think about some of these themes moving forward. Thanks for watching.